REKT podcast is brought to you by Honey Miner. Want to start mining, but never had the technical skills or time? Honey Miner is the answer. Honey Miner is a one-click install mining software that downloads directly to your computer and earns you Bitcoin. No more writing scripts or configurations. Just download the desktop app and start mining immediately. What are you waiting for? Go to honeyminer.com and start earning Bitcoin while you sleep today. That's honeyminer.com, on Twitter at GetHoneyMiner, and Telegram at t.me/honeyminer.
I'm Needacoin, and this is REKT.
Hello and welcome to REKT Podcast. I am Bunchu Betts alongside our other wonderful host, Chamber. How you doing, buddy?
Not too bad, man. Not too bad. How you feeling? You were a little under the weather a couple of days ago.
Yes, I was under the weather. I woke up on Monday, I guess, and I had no voice. So no voice means no podcasting. But 2 days later and a lot of chamomile tea, and your boy's back ready to rock. So
velvety voice.
Velvety, smooth, just like, I'm not, what is velvety and smooth?
I don't know.
First thing I think of is like Hugh Hefner's smoking jacket.
Yeah, that sounds right.
All right, velvety and smooth, like Hugh Hefner's smoking jacket. We do not have Cynthia today. She's missing.
Coach's decision.
Game time decision. She was playing injured as well. You know, this is REKT Podcast, and sometimes sometimes we're wrecked, so that's just it. So anyway, we have an awesome guest for us. I'm going to step out on a limb here and say
I'm going with you on that limb, man. I know exactly what you're thinking.
He's the father of shitcoins, I think. He is the sultan of shitcoins. I like that. Give me something with an A, something of altcoins. The arbiter of altcoins.
That's right.
We have Needacoin on the podcast with us. Needacoin, how you doing, man?
That was some intro, man. Holy. I feel like I got to step up now. I'm doing great, man.
You know, I got to say, when I first got into crypto Twitter, you were one of the first people I followed, and I was kind of late to the crypto Twitter scene. I don't think I actually really got into it until, maybe November, even though I was in crypto like back in April of last year, but I never found crypto Twitter until like November or December. And one of the first people I followed was you, because you were doing the 25 days of altcoins, the 25 days of Christmas tweets.
Yes, the shitcoin calendar.
That was awesome. The shitcoin calendar I followed very closely, and if I remember correctly, it was very lucrative, the shitcoin calendar.
It was a good mix of just different projects that I was following, kind of looking at, and I felt like they'd bottomed out, so I figured it was a good time to put something together. There's a lot of people that were trying to make a name for themselves in this space, so I thought, I might as well put something together here. So
it was pretty cool. Chamber, do you remember seeing that at all?
I think I got in crypto Twitter a little later. I think it was like January. I don't know if it was still going on there.
You were after the season of giving from Needacoin.
Yeah.
Tis the season.
Tis the season for
shitcoins. So many gifts I've missed out on.
Tis the season for shitcoins. That's the first encounter I ever had with Needacoin. So and it was pretty cool. That was a pretty unique thing that I haven't seen anybody do before. So that was pretty cool, man. But
I'm always trying to keep it fresh, man. Always got to keep it fresh.
That's right. I mean, look, that's what we're here for. So you with your shitcoin calendar, us with trying to keep it fresh on a podcast every couple days. So we're ready to rock though. So we're glad to have you. Thank you for joining us.
Right on, man. Thanks for having me.
Tell our audience a little bit about. I guess we'll start with how you got into crypto, how long you've been around. Just kind of walk us through your whole crypto journey and kind of how you got to where you are today.
I started off in 2000, late 2013. Got introduced to it from someone at work who was really interested in it, but never did invest in crypto. He talked about it every single day. So eventually decided, I'll look at it. I looked at the white papers, man, and that was basically it. I was hooked from there. So, and then
What exactly is a white paper? I keep hearing that term, and I have no idea what they're talking about.
Come on, have you never read the Bitcoin white paper?
I'm going to be honest. That's the only one I've ever read. I've purchased a lot of shit coins. Yeah, I did read the Satoshi White.
You and John McAfee, and then you were hooked.
We were hooked.
I've also read the Bitcoin white paper. If you haven't, and you're in crypto, I feel like it's
not even a difficult read.
No, it's not.
It's very nice. It's very easy read.
It's an easy read, and it gets you amped for everything that you're doing in this market. And so all right. So you read the white paper, you were hooked. Now flash forward, couple years. How do you become, the Needacoin?
Just I guess, just the best thing I can say. Just surviving, just hanging around, right? There's a lot of people who came and went. When I started on crypto Twitter, I was, things were obviously much smaller back then, but I was a very small fry in comparison with a lot of these other guys, and I just kind of started trying to do my own thing. I was doing something that was unique. Nobody was really trying to just search out of the bottom pile of crap and find a gem, right? Everybody was kind of focusing on the main coins at that time. So I just tried to go my own route a little bit, and because of that, when the storm came in, that's when I got all my followers.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, I don't even know. I lost track of how many you have. You're over 100,000, aren't you?
Yeah, something like that.
Are you really?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure. So, and,
cow.
me and Chamber just broke 1,500.
Yeah,
so
we're always neck and neck, you and I.
Yeah, I know. I lost like 20 followers the other day, and you caught me, and then you actually passed me, and then I passed you. So we're in a race, Needacoin, and then
race to 100K.
Yeah, we'll catch you at 100K. So,
all right, I'll meet you guys there.
We'll catch you at the 100K.
I was around 1,000 followers for a long time, and then it was a couple calls, a couple things that really broke out that put me out there, and then obviously when people started joining last year, it was 10,000 a month, right? So it doesn't really take long when you kind of get, the positive results or whatever.
Absolutely. So talk a little bit about your kind of how you went from, just your Bitcoin white paper and stuff to, as I like to call you, the father of altcoins. It's, I think you have what, over 50, 60, over 100 bags?
Yeah, I've got probably about 150 bags right now.
So how do you go from, all right, Bitcoin white paper to 150 bags? Because, a lot of the people that we talk to, aren't nearly as deep in the altcoin, and some are straight up non-altcoin believers. So I think it'd be awesome for our audience to kind of hear how you got there, and just that kind of aspect of your story.
Yeah, so basically I figured in any kind of market, it doesn't matter what it is, there's always going to be competition, right? So even if there's a grocery store in your town, that doesn't mean that another grocery store is not going to open up shop, right, and do just as well. So I realized I didn't put very much money into the point where I felt like it needed to be secure. I knew Bitcoin was going to be a risk. I knew all these coins were going to be a risk, but Dogecoin was around, or coming around, sorry, and there was a few other coins that were on the market at the time, and the market caps of them were extremely low in comparison to Bitcoin. And obviously back then nobody felt like Bitcoin was a sure thing. So I just started kind of looking at some of these other side projects and putting a little bit of my portfolio into these things. Probably a lot more than I should have back then. My portfolio, my risk management was not as good as it is today. I was new. I had no idea what I was doing. So I just started investing in some of these side projects. And you kind of got to go back to that time, 2014 because back then, like an average market cap was, $50,000, right?
That's
so
wild.
You look at a lot of these coins and what they're worth today and where they could be. Back then I was like, they couldn't even rent a garage with these market cap prices, right? Like these projects could never be nothing unless they grow dramatically from this point on. So basically that was why I really started to get involved in them. And I noticed that a lot of people who were involved in Bitcoin, even if they didn't like all the coins, they had one other coin that they liked, right? So I figured, you know what, I wouldn't mind being involved in these other coins because obviously, other people are willing to put their money into them. I'm going to look at these two as another avenue of making some money here, right? So
very cool. Yeah. So, you mentioned, your risk management back then. How does one handle risk management with 150 bags? Because that's something that I still struggle with, and I don't have nearly the exposure to that many projects and stuff as you do.
I think people always, when they invest, they put too much in on their first investment. They dive in.
Guilty.
So you start to realize that I actually like to only do 0.2% of my portfolio per bid. So wow. Even at 5 bids, I'm only doing a full percent on my portfolio. So that's a little thing that I like to use just to kind of keep things under control for me. My structure is obviously a lot different than everyone else's. My circumstances aren't your circumstances, right? So
right.
Everybody's going to do something that molds more for them. But for me, this works, and then it gives me the opportunity to hold more bags. And I just like to buy as the price goes down. So every 15%, or when it gets around like 70% decline in the price there, then my bag's usually full at that point. So, and if it goes up and I only got a little bit, well, then I only have a little bit, but it's in the green, so who cares, right?
Absolutely. So you just mentioned, so you do about 0.2% of your portfolio per bid, and then does that mean that for each bag that you're looking to accumulate, you're setting 4 or 5 bids at different levels?
Yeah, 5 bids generally at different levels there and get full percentage on it. So, it's nice when something runs 10x and turns into 10% of your portfolio from 1%. Right. And then at the same time, if the coin completely falls off the face of the earth and is just going to die tomorrow, you're still left with 99% of your portfolio, right? So
that seems so reasonable, Chamber.
Wow, I took a different approach.
we need to reevaluate what we've been doing something similar with the REKT index, but maybe we need to evaluate our procedures there. But anyway,
I think that's a good route.
It makes sense, and it does it like. For anybody out there that's listening that's either new and has done or working on risk management, I think that's one of the hardest things to actually grasp and control and find yourself a system that works for you. And I think even to hear someone like yourself that says even though I have 150 projects that I'm into, they each only have 1% of my entire portfolio. I think that's important for people to hear because they you tend to want to go big to get big results, and that may not necessarily always have to be the case, is what it sounds like here.
Well, the thing is this is still trial and error, this whole crypto space, right? So, to guarantee, say this project's gonna go up 100%, no doubt. Well, that's actually pretty foolish statement, right? So you don't know, anything could happen. There could be a hack tomorrow. An exchange could go down with those coins. Anything could happen. The devs could start arguing. It's such a small space that anything can happen. So to waste time worrying about those things, and trying to lock in on one project when there's so many different sections in crypto that you can go over, it just kind of just a waste in my opinion.
Yeah, and that makes sense. And so how, what is it that you look for in either a project, or how you look to kind of, what makes your cut and things like that? What kind of process do you have there?
I vet them. I like to, write them down, pen and paper, so you can kind of remember. But I like to grade my coins and then go down the list of kind of fundamentals, what it looks like from the inside. Um, Go over the devs. Who are they? What kind of history do they have? Are they going to be qualified in this space, right? Are they the kind of devs who just have to rely on making an ETH token? Um, Kind of just depending on a lot of things. What's the coin supply? What the inflation's going to be? If it's a mineable coin, how many people are mining it? If it's a POS coin, how many people are staking it? What's the percentages on those things, right? So there's a lot to look over, and then kind of overall you just figure out, once you look at enough of these projects, you'll start to realize which ones you think are good projects and which ones you don't. And to lump all crypto coins together is another foolish thing, because the, so many of them are doing completely different things. The fact that they're all on a blockchain doesn't mean anything. They all use blockchain. That's the only thing that they're good for. Well, every store uses fiat, and we don't complain about that, right?
Right.
So, um, there there's little things like that, and what their growth can be, what their roadmaps look like. Where do you see it in 5 years, 10 years, right? How big can this thing get? So there's a lot of things that I like to look at.
I got a quick question now. Are there sectors that you look at? Like, do you like privacy better than, say, like ecosystems or platforms?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm always looking at that. I think that there's a lot in crypto that you can look at, but just like as an example, like I think online shopping is a big area. The cloud area is a big area. Obviously, I love the DEX area.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a massive area. The gambling industry, that's another big one. You've got shipping, traveling, all those things, security.
Yep.
Um, so there's a lot of different sectors. So that's what I mean about diversifying your portfolio, because you don't really know even what sector is going to hit first, right? You
Right.
you can make an assumption on what you think's kind of moving the fastest, but you don't know which one will actually hit first.
It's a good point.
Yeah, for sure. So, it sounds like, there's a lot of fundamental analysis that goes into, you picking projects and coins that you're in. How do you couple that with kind of any TA that you do, or, do you take that into account when you're looking at a position? Talk a little bit about that.
Um, I, I don't take it that much. I set alerts. I use charts to set alerts. I do zoom out. I look at the price, the long term, uh, you know, where it's been. But to be honest with you, I'm not really drawing that many lines there. I'm more or less using it to set alerts. I like to buy things near their bottom or their lows. That's generally what brings my attention to it. So even if I look at a project and I like it, I'll probably set some alerts on there for when the price dips, right? When it comes to that price,
Mm-hmm.
then I'll come back and I'll look at the project and kind of see what's been going on, why the price dipped. If there's really nothing from a fundamental standpoint telling me why the price didn't dip, then I'm obviously interested in making my bag there. So then that's really when I'll go back to the charts and just kind of set out my levels. But besides that, honestly, I'm more or less just lining it up to a reasonable price so I can, like right now, if you look at how far coins are from where their all-time high was,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
if
like to
you
call that the buy zone. All
well,
time
yeah,
high is the buy zone for me.
if you started today and one of these coins all-time hit a new all-time high, most likely you're looking at a 10x, right? So
Right.
if a coin just came off a new all-time high and it's only 10-15% from the top, I'm not even really looking at it at that point. There might be a play there from a technical perspective, but for me as an investor, that's not really my area to be buying in. I'm kind of waiting on this thing to come down because I want to know that I can sit on a bag at a price that's going to be competitive with some of the lowest buyers.
So you are pretty much like a kid in a candy store at the current moment.
I
With
wish I was a little bit more. I'm pretty strapped right now myself. So obviously being invested in a bunch of coins draws out your portfolio pretty quickly.
right.
So yeah, so no, right now I'm pretty stranded. I did go on a buying spree a month or two ago and bought up a bunch of stuff, and now I'm sitting on that. I'm very comfortable with, even though like a lot of these positions are down, and I don't want to sound like I'm doing great this year by any means. I'm down tremendously. Um,
You and everyone else, no worries.
yeah, no, but just to come off, I don't want to come off like I'm some sort of guru here, and
Right.
all,
Right.
I'm the only guy in crypto. I know these guys like to make it look like they're all doing really good, but there's a lot of bleeding going on, and to be
Are you
honest
telling
with
me
you,
some of these people are lying to me?
we all feel it. But the main thing is when you realize that I actually asked someone the other day, how many days of plus 20% would it take until your portfolio is back to even? Because that's how quick crypto moves, right? So
Right.
to have 3 or 4 straight days of plus 20%, isn't that unrealistic? So when
We've
the
seen it
I,
happen.
I would need more than 3 to 4 days, but
but yeah, so things happen quick in crypto, so you always got to keep an eye on it.
Cool. Well, it was awesome for you to share kind of a look at what your process is, and just hearing all the things that you look at going into a coin before you purchase it is, I think, really important for everybody out there to hear. And I'll summarize this section with a tweet of your own, because after talking to you, it makes a lot of sense. You tweeted 10 hours ago, everyone's looking for a secret recipe on crypto success, when really it comes down to you grinding harder than average. And I think just by talking to you for these couple minutes on your process, that shows. And I think that for anybody out there who's learning and stuff, this was a great conversation to kind of look at
I'll
things that you need.
I was gonna say, like, we've had some really good guests on, but I think you're the one that I would say that's the technique that I'd like to use the most. That really appeals to me. I'm not a miner. I'm not. I look at charts and I draw lines, but I'm no TA guy. I like the approach that you take, and I think that like you said, it's hit and miss. It's a work in progress, but the work that you put in is pretty eye opening.
Yeah.
And it really makes me think. I'm like, shit, I gotta do.
I hope you took some
I gotta do a
notes,
lot more
Chamber.
work.
I hope you took some notes. But anyway,
Well,
man, so thanks for
I do
sharing.
think that being involved in crypto now after all these coins have come out, it's obviously overwhelming. So you kind of got to take a step back and only look at a few coins a day, go over them, and then as you kind of accumulate bags, you've got to also look back on those projects, right? So you'll realize that it takes up less of your time than once you get a little bit of a pattern going, and
Right.
kind of realize what you're looking for in a coin and stuff like that. And there's a lot of fluff out there, right? You waste a lot of time on like crypto Twitter and stuff like that, when you could really be putting in some work, right? I use crypto Twitter as almost like relief from when I'm doing work, so I can stop reading for a little bit and just start joking around. So
I'm
it's just
totally the opposite.
it's just about putting work in the right areas in this space, and there's going to be more coins coming out in the future. So if you kind of get a grasp on what's out there today, you won't be so shell shocked by the future coins, right? So
Yeah,
Right.
that's an awesome point. So yeah, man, thank you.
This is
So,
gold, people.
Yeah, this is
everybody
gold.
should be taking notes right now. This is
If-
gold.
If, you're not taking notes, you can just listen again. That's cool.
Yeah. we
But-
could use the downloads.
yeah, absolutely. Anyway, so we're going to let the people know, since now you've shared us all your successes. Let's see if you could share a couple of your REKT stories from along your crypto journey, if you have any. I'm sure if as you said, your risk management wasn't always the best, so I'm sure you might have a couple REKT stories that we can relate to here.
oh no, man, I've never made a mistake in my life.
I knew it.
Yeah. No, I've got tons of REKT stories. Just going back to the way I do my portfolio, I have a USB full of dead coins that will probably never come back to life, right? So, and some of these coins have been dead since 2015. So, it's not all sunshine and rainbows, right? Like there's a lot of bad projects there. There are scammers and stuff, so you got to be careful.
Have you ever been scammed
Yeah, absolutely.
yourself?
Yeah, I've been scammed. In the early days, I got scammed quite a few times. I donated for a project for what was an ICO at the time, which was one of the first ICOs that were coming out because they weren't really a thing back then. And the guy pretended like he was opening a shop and all that, and closed the doors before they even opened and left with everyone's Bitcoin. I also got scammed last year on a cloud mining project that we were supposed to do with a guy, and he took everyone's funds and ran off. So for Zeke mining. So yeah, I've been scammed a few times. My REKT
What-
story. Oh, what's that?
What would be your advice for people out there to not get scammed? Because, you see scams out there every day, even in crypto Twitter and stuff like that.
Yeah, don't send your money around, obviously. Keep it to yourself. If you're new, like obviously you got to use proper risk management so that even if something bad does happen, you're going to be okay. But really, I don't know what to say. Just don't send to dumb projects. Don't think that you're gonna get rich overnight on something.
But what if they tell you you're going to get rich overnight?
Yeah, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Unless it's a shit coin that's on the rise on a market, then that's just what happens. No. But yeah, no, I've been scammed. I've lost money. One time I panicked about a wallet, and I thought I got a message saying that something happened with this one coin, Very coin, and nothing actually happened with it. And I went out drinking that night and came home and just absolutely liquored. I sent half of my coins to the exchange, and then I set a password on my coins, and I was like, oh, I'll come, I'll just write it down in the morning when I wake up. And yeah, it's locked to this day.
Oh my goodness.
I'll never get those coins back. And
Did you try to do some sort of like, in the movies where they
I
get
was
drunk
just gonna
again
ask
and
this.
try to like retrace your steps while drunk?
Yeah, no, if only I've come to peace with it in 2017. I came to peace with it, but that took me about 3 years to get over. That was a tough pill to swallow. It was probably one of my biggest mistakes, and I realized I really shouldn't be touching anything crypto after I've been drinking too many drinks.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was probably one of my most wrecked moments, and I used to watch that rich list and just notice I was the oldest wallet of all time, and it was sad and depressing.
That's so funny though. Like
my heart's breaking.
That's exactly what I thought of. Is like, you see in the movies where the student like studies for an exam drunk, so they have to go take the exam drunk so they can remember everything they studied. Oh man!
If only it worked like the movies, folks.
Right, exactly. Oh man, that's a good one, dude. So, thanks for sharing that. So, moral of the story there is don't drink in crypto.
Yeah, never drink in crypto. That's the worst decision. And if you're going to make a password, put it in a safe place. Don't remember it later.
Because I can't even remember where I put my keys half the time. I lose my keys, my wallet, everything. There is no chance I'm ever gonna remember a drunk password.
I think there's probably, this is, I was fairly new back then too, and I just quit my job and went full time into crypto, and that was a substantial part of my portfolio because my risk management was terrible at the time. And I used to spend probably an hour or two a day for a few weeks just typing in password after password and just trying anything and thinking, oh, what would it be? And I'd be just sitting on the couch. I'd be like, oh, I think I know it. And I'd run back and try a couple and then eventually I still kept the wallet or whatever, but on a USB, but I finally just deleted it off my computer and was like, you know what,
I gotta get over it.
I have to come, and then you don't really get over it, but then a couple of years later and a bull run or two later, and I was like, okay, I can live with that.
There you go.
That's pretty funny. Like it was probably a password you've used before that you were just drunk and like fat fingered one of the.
That's what I'm
keys.
thinking, right?
And so it's probably like a normal password with like a W instead of an E or something.
Oh yeah, no, it's just terrible.
That's funny, man. But that's a good REKT story. It's wrecked in multiple ways, which is what we like around here.
I like a multi-tiered REKT story.
Yeah, it's a multi-tiered REKT, which is good. But yeah, man, thanks. So the other thing, if you have one, what? How about a real life REKT story you could share with the audience? Let them get to know the real Needacoin.
I'm older now, so I'm wiser. So I don't.
Is that how it works? Because I feel like I'm like Benjamin buttoning that aspect.
Yeah, I don't know. Really, I was thinking about this one, and I was thinking, what could I really say? But my most REKT story, I guess, I was camping here, and we went down, and I pulled in, and my trailer had a flat tire on it, and so I get out, change my flat tire on my trailer, and I open a beer. I'm all mad, and changing the flat tire, and all of a sudden I look at the other side of my truck, and my truck's got a flat tire. So I changed the trailer tire. I put it on. I go over to the other side, go take a sip of my beer. There's a wasp in my beer. I got stung in the mouth, and then I had to change my other tire. And I go turn on my propane, and I had no propane and my battery.
Oh my god!
And so we had to wait until Fish and Wildlife came around, and they helped me get going again and get back on the road so I could just actually pack up and leave. But my mouth was all swollen, and I'd change a bunch of tires. So I guess that's the best thing I can give you.
That's a good story. Oh, that's sucks,
what we were
dude.
looking for.
I can't imagine getting stung in the mouth. Chamber, you ever been stung in the mouth?
I actually have. I was, I don't know, maybe like 10 or 12 years old. I was biking back from a friend's house.
You were licking a beehive?
So yeah, I was. It was my Winnie the Pooh phase. Doesn't everybody go through that?
Yeah, I mean
I was riding back from my buddy's house, and I'm coming downhill, and I'm clipping. All right, I'm flying, and I get smashed in the face. I thought it was a rock. Turns out it was a fucking bumblebee. Because half of it was still in my mouth, and it stung me on the lip, and I was just a mess. Yeah, like that does, yeah. Bee stings in the face do not, or wasp stings I think actually hurt more. But this was like a bee sting plus being hit in the face with a rock. It was
Oh my
not fun.
god. Yeah, all right. I never want to get stung in the mouth. So I've learned two things here. I never want to get stung in the mouth, and I definitely want to drink beers with Needacoin. So
Yeah,
like this
I want to go
like
camping with them.
Sounds
I
like
still
a
like
good
to
time.
have fun, folks.
That's it. I mean, I
Hey,
don't like
Nita,
having too much fun.
You're a fellow Canadian, right? Are you familiar with the movie Fubar?
Yes.
Of course, I don't know Bunchu if this
I've
hasn't
never heard of it. I know what FUBAR stands for, though.
Bunch, you would love it. Okay,
Oh, okay. Is
it's
it something I
a
can access?
it's a Canadian masterpiece. So much so they made a part two, which was not as good. But there's a camping scene in it, and when Needacoin was telling the story about it just reminded me of like angry beer drinking and FUBAR.
We're gonna put a FUBAR link in the show notes for everybody because I need to see it now. So.
Canadian classic.
Awesome, that's cool. So thanks, man. Well, let's get to our news. So Chamber, you wanna give us a news story first?
I sure do.
Yeah, baby.
Most important news of the day. As expected, well, at least that was the sentiment on crypto Twitter, SEC slaps down 2 New York Stock Exchange Bitcoin ETF proposals.
Yawn.
Yeah,
Yawn.
exactly. Actually,
this is actually, I would love to hear Needacoin's take on this because he tweeted something about it that I thought was interesting.
lay it on us.
I just, yeah, it's just a funny area that crypto's in right now, and obviously we all want the big money. Market caps have increased dramatically over the last few years, so for the push for getting random people in crypto is over, and now it's all about getting that big money now. So we're gonna continue to sit here and just wait with our fucking thumbs in our ass and wait until some guy officially decides that it's okay for this to happen. It's to me, it's honestly it's just a distraction. If you're paying attention to that over everything else that's happening in crypto, with the growth in crypto and the market, and just even the halving coming up in a year or 2 years here, like there's way better things than the ETF. They're gonna do it when they're going to do it. It's not probably gonna be the next one either in September. Chances are that's gonna be denied also. I don't know that, but
It sounds like people are saying the February deadline seems to be the one to look for.
yeah, it's just depressing that that's the only thing that people are
That's
focusing
holding
on.
us up right now.
Is
yeah.
we're gonna sit here for 6 months until we get a decision on something before we can do something and be progressive. A lot of coins have stuff coming out. They've got their platforms being released right now. There's just a lot more news than the ETF. I'm not trying to shit all over your story, by the way.
No.
We're just bringing the news.
No, that's
This
a good point. That
this is
like
impartial.
we're impartial here. I think that's a great point, and I think it's interesting perspective because it seems like, I mean, you're one of the only people that I've seen saying, we don't need this dang ETF. You know what I mean? So I think
don't get me wrong. It's a great thing, and eventually having it is a great thing for crypto. But if to focus on solely the ETF and just for that one BitMEX play that everybody wants to make, is just nasty. It's really sad. We always have one thing though. Every year it's like a new thing. Like a couple of years ago, it was like Google had their Azeri or whatever the heck it was called, and everybody was getting added on there, and that was the reason for a pump. And there's always just something new that people want to kind of glue themselves to, and this year it's the ETF. This is all we're going to talk about.
And I'll just kind of parlay that right into my story, which was about BitMEX last night. So we're recording this on Wednesday. It'll be out next week. But the BitMEX downtime, the maintenance, and the pump that it caused on Bitcoin, and I think to your point too, it's like that's BitMEX now has up to a 40% market share over Bitcoin USD trading pairs, and it's the most liquid Bitcoin trading pair in the market. And as soon as it goes down, we saw it shoot up to 6,800 here, and then in this article,
shit hits the fan when things happen on Max. Shit hits
it was crazy. But to your point here, in this same article talking about BitMEX, it says the BitMEX Lightning 7% breakout during the BitMEX downtime shows why the odds of an SEC approving the CBOE Bitcoin ETF proposal should be close to zero, even if there's no manipulation. This stresses the importance of BitMEX, a fully unregulated market with 40% of the market share. So, I think maybe people who are sitting around waiting for this ETF shouldn't be as optimistic as maybe they are.
Yeah, I with the I like to think the best of people, and I like to say that there's not much manipulation going on, because the price goes up and down, right? That's what a market does. So I like to kind of stay away from that, but it is funny because we strap these dates and times on things because of news or announcements, right? So everybody's kind of looking for something. When things like that happen, people will reach as far as they need to reach to make a story look good, right? So
for sure.
I always like to say this as a long-term investor, that sometimes these day-to-day things that happen can really distract you on kind of what's going on overall. I think the move on Bitcoin with BitMEX down just shows, like, if a breakout was to happen, it could be massive, right?
It'll be huge and swift. Yeah, exactly. But I think that's a good point, is, there's bigger picture things going on than just a specific date and time, and giving something, everything has to have a reason of why it did something is not always the case. You know what I mean?
Think of how many times this year these whales have had a chance to accumulate at these prices. Like, they are just waiting to bulldoze through these people who are betting against them. They've had so many months to accumulate. They've had 3 dips now to go into. Wouldn't February be really fitting? I don't even like to think that far ahead. I don't like to worry too much about that. But anyways, yeah.
Cool, man. So, yeah, that'll do it for our news. Keeping it short and sweet for you today. Now, we're going to have Chamber give you the REKT podcast REKT test.
Get wrecked!
All right. I know. I feel like you're going to do all right on this one.
Oh, so yeah, he's going to ace it.
Except for the first question, I think he's... So this is just a little test. Some of the questions, or maybe some of the faux pas that I did early in the year, late last year, and just to see how you're gonna fare out in the next bull market, if and when we get there. So question number 1: is your portfolio more than 70% alts?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
yeah.
That's the only one that he might fail on.
I know. I feel like
that's not a fail, guys. That's
no, I'm with
exactly. You. This is the unique perspective. Exactly.
I love it. This makes me feel better.
If you're 90% altcoins, I do like to stay and have some Bitcoin. Obviously, right now I think it is for me as an investor a great time to buy. So I usually like to say, if you have 90% altcoins and you have 10% on the side, that's 50 more bids you can put up, right? So with how my portfolio goes and stuff, that's a lot, and that can stretch you out quite a bit. So but right now, no, definitely way over 75.
All right, good. Me too. All right, question number 2. Do you use more than 3 times leverage on BitMEX?
No, I did my first leverage the other day, and that was the
How'd that?
first one I've had in done in 2 years.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah. Um, but then that being said, I think it was like 5x leverage or something like that.
Okay.
So, you know,
How'd it go?
Yeah, I was gonna say,
it was good. Yeah, I hit ETH at
50?
263,
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
sold it at 301.
Oh,
Nice.
perfect. Well played, sir.
One and done, folks. One and done.
Nice.
It's
Go
like
out on
George
a-
Costanza
going out on a high note.
Yeah, go exactly.
Question number 3. Do you own either Verge or Tron?
No, I don't.
Wow.
That's awesome.
150
He's got
bags.
150 bags and neither
No
are
Verge,
or
no
Tron.
Tron.
Yeah, but that being said, I had Tron at 16 Satoshis. I bought into that,
Wow.
and I flipped
Oh,
that.
you were talking before
um,
the show about Dogecoin Dark.
and
which
then
is-
yeah, I was got into that before it was even Verge. I had a bag, and
Yeah, if it was Dogecoin Dark, we don't count that. That's just a smart play.
right,
so
exactly.
I've played both of those coins, but I do not own or hold any of those coins.
So you were successful while holding those.
Yeah, they were actually both very good.
I'm
Yeah,
sure
they
both were really good
those were
at the
big
time,
pumps.
yeah. Mhm.
All right, question number 4. Do you own a hardware wallet?
Yes,
Okay. So do I.
I own
Bunchy?
like,
Yeah,
a lot of them.
Yeah,
Bunchy-
a lot.
Bun-
I would imagine I imagine you have a lot of them.
Bunchy, do you have one?
Yes, I do.
Oh, okay.
I said to Chamber today, all I am for this podcast is a pretty face and an empty hardware wallet.
I thought you were the pretty face and I was the empty hardware wallet.
well,
I thought,
either
I thought
one.
that
We
I thought
can't-
that's what you meant.
Well, I was being self-deprecating, but we could go for you, the hardware wallet. That's okay.
All right, last question. Is Cryptopia in your top 3 favorite exchanges?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, it is. I've been on Topia for a long time, since near the start of it, and there is a lot of trash in there, and I know you like people who jump on random pumps and stuff. They usually get burnt and hate Topia, but I've never been like that. But I sift that website up and down, and I've had some really nice plays there, and I've also accumulated a lot for my USB drive on there.
That's awesome.
All right, you're looking. I don't know. I feel like he's just a better version of what I'm trying to do. So lots of altcoins. Doesn't use BitMEX or once in a blue moon, or once every leap
every
year.
5 years.
every couple of years. Yeah, I just know it's not for me.
Yeah, it
well,
seems like
as-
it's the opposite of your style.
I actually went here, like, to tell you the truth, and I tweeted about this too. I actually forgot I had my position, and I like closed the website and like went to bed and woke up.
Oh,
I was
I
like,
did
"Fuck!
see
I put
that.
that BitMEX fucking long in yesterday," and so I went back to look at it, and it was doing all right. It wasn't up as much as it was, but it was doing okay. I was like, "Oh shit! Really shouldn't have just let that sit
Fall
there."
asleep.
Yeah, I kind of just totally forgot. I'm so used to being being peaceful with my buys, going
Right. See, that's how I want to be too. Chamber, we're gonna need to listen to our own episode like 6 times. To really-
This is my favorite episode so far. To be honest, this resonates with me very much.
this is all the things that we need to do. So, anyway,
This is probably the most educational one we've had, I would say.
probably.
like I said though off the start, like obviously this isn't advice, and everybody's got a different strategy because everyone's in a different circumstance, right? If crypto's your only source of income, that's going to change a lot from if you have a secondary source of income and maybe a third source of income, right? So, and then depending on like the size of your portfolio, shouldn't matter as much. It should be more about your percentages. But
Yeah, and I agree, and I think the big takeaway though is not necessarily how many projects you have or how many bags you have, but it's the process and the the process and the discipline that you've developed over time, that because I think when everybody most people come into this space, and everybody I've talked to like recently has had a very similar experience. You get in, you see all the money that you could potentially make, and you all of a sudden think you're a day trader, and then you end up getting wrecked, or you buy tops, or you don't know what you're doing, and so I think your style kind of plays to what most people would be much more comfortable and could actually develop their own process to be successful with. You know what I mean, Chamber? You get me on that?
100%.
Yeah, I think that overall, and I've seen a lot of people in the space come and go. When Bitcoin hit $1,000 and fell back down to, around $200 there, the people were dropping like flies. They couldn't take the abuse no more, and you've seen people who were all in all the time and thought they were the best who were the ones that were falling apart. So crypto is very new. You should never try and we're all learning here, right? Even some of the top altcoiners, as like myself, I have 5 years experience in this field, right?
Right.
At a normal job, that's nothing. So
that's true.
right. So everybody's still learning here. So that's why I say everything's different for every single person. But kind of look at yourself and look at what you want to do, not trying to make a quick buck, because the quick buck usually isn't available.
Right, exactly. Like you said before, if it seems too good to be true, it probably is.
Well, the last bull run on Bitcoin was almost 2 years, right? It was it went from 2015 to 2017, right? So, that just shows how long term crypto is. Like, that's how long term I am on crypto. It's a 2-year play, right? So, anyways.
That's a good point too. But yeah, that's awesome. So like we said, take notes at home, because this is a pretty good lesson for
this is a free podcast, people.
Yeah, here's a free lesson. Cool. So our next segment is called The Purge. So what the purge is was given to us as an idea by Father of Bags at the Whale Reports. So if you could, you're very well versed in a lot of different projects out there. If you could take one of them and banish them from the earth with no consequences, what would it be? And now the catch is you can't use anything that our guests have already used. So here's what's off the table from you: Tron, Ripple, Ethereum, Verge, EOS, Bcash. Those are not available to you. What would you choose to purge, and why?
Something I own, or
it could be anything out there. Something you don't, or something you own, something you think is a scam, something you think people should stay away from, something you just straight up don't like.
Tether.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
Best answer.
All right, give us a reason.
Yeah, it's absolute trash. Tether's just is shitty excuse. We should never had Tether in crypto. We didn't have a use for Tether in crypto. If you need to be in fiat, you can go to fiat. I've never been a fan of Tether. I don't think like what they're doing is shady or anything like that. I'm not like that one dude on Twitter.
Bitfinex.
Who always goes nuts about it. But I'm not a fan of Tether. The fact that it's like a $3 billion market cap is kind of sickening.
Well, didn't they just pump out like another like 150 million like this week or something like that?
Yeah, like yesterday, didn't they?
Yeah.
I think that just moved, didn't it? Or did it get printed? It might have got printed. I'm not
sure.
sure.
I don't remember. I only took a quick glance at it. But that's a good one. We haven't had that one yet, and I've been waiting for somebody to say that one, actually. That's a good one.
That's a good one. I never even thought of that one. That's a good one.
For our last segment here, as we wind down, I'm actually really excited for this one, Chamber.
I agree. I'm with you.
So this is our
chomping at the bit.
Yeah, this is our REKT Index segment.
Brutal, savage, REKT.
So what the REKT Index is we ask each of our guests to kind of give us their top 3 picks or coins that they're excited about, or whether you own it or not, or just think that have a lot of potential for the future, and share them with us. And we actually started this as what we thought was going to be like a fantasy league. We were going to keep track of the stats, and then we said, you know what, why don't we put our money where our mouth is? So we actually started purchasing all the coins that our guests have suggested. So Chamber, what are we at?
That is a terrible idea.
What are we at right now?
We are.
Look, we're REKT index. We're gonna put we're
Absolutely.
REKT. We're gonna put it where our money where our mouth is.
I feel so bad for you guys already.
Well, look, it's right now you could almost throw a dart and we'd probably make some money off of it. But where are we at right now? We're actually not doing too terrible.
Not awful. So overall, our BTC value of our portfolio is down 2.5%. Mind you, we are heavy. I think 70% of our portfolio is still BTC.
Right, because we are actually doing something that Needacoin would, be proud of. We've been taking 2 to 3% of our whole portfolio and buying with these picks. So we have been disciplined.
Yeah, we're up pretty significantly in Ethereum value, but down pretty significantly in USD. So we're down about 23% USD, which is not ideal.
What are our top performers?
Top performers we're looking at. That's.
You got Chamber excited.
Yeah, 1 second. They're not. There you go. They weren't sorted properly. Quant is kind of shimmied up to the top there of best performer.
Was that a fungus pick?
I think that was a fungus pick. Quant Pundi X is still at the top too. Sorry,
that was a Shilnai pick.
Pundi X. And that's about it. There's not a lot in the green.
The rest, as we call it, is below the chamber line or the chamber pot.
Mothership is up. Sorry, Mothership is up.
Cool. So Needacoin, what do you got for us? Give us a couple and why you like them.
Oh man, this is tough, boys. You guys are putting pressure on me.
Remember, everybody listening at home, this is the part of the podcast where it is not financial advice.
It's just financial advice for us.
Yeah, no, none of this is financial advice at all, and nothing I said. Don't hate on me on Twitter or anything.
If anybody's
please.
hating on you on Twitter, grow up, people. Okay. This guy's.
I'll start. What do you guys look for? Like top caps or
anything you want?
Anything that's could be like
as long as that's
a good buying opportunity.
As long as we can buy it.
Yeah, you got to buy it on an exchange. Any of the 5-6 major exchanges, I would say.
Yeah. ShipChain had a lot of issues earlier this year. They had security issues and stuff like that were all solved. Yeah. The coin is down dramatically from where the ICO price was and all the drama happened.
That's what we like to hear.
Below ICOs is where I live. I like to be.
Yeah, this I'm not even sure. I'm close to 80% below ICO. And that's where the drama started. So they've since cleared all that up from what I'm aware of here. I'm not exactly sure. I think the market cap is sitting, I don't know,
3.3 million right now.
And I think that's off a little bit because that says it has like 200 million coins, and it's a little bit less than that, right?
Okay, yeah.
That one I would say is a pretty good one.
That we can get on IDEX, by the way.
Oh, nice, good.
Another one that I would go that I would consider is AMP.
Oh, I love me some AMP.
It fell off. It's down 70% this year, give or take. But from a project perspective, it besides just
is that scenario? Is that the
yeah.
same thing? AMP is okay. All right, I just want to make sure.
So yeah.
I used to have a big old bag of AMP, and I did pretty well on it for a while, and then I kind of capitulated. I sold some off, and then when it was going up, and then after whatever I had came all the way back down, I ended up selling it at like break even. So I was a big AMP fan at one point, so I'm liking that one. You can get that one on Bittrex, I think. Chamber.
You can, yeah.
And then my third one I'll say is Fantasy Cash. That's a Cryptopia pick. It's a really low coin. They have a
Yeah, it
platform
is.
coming out that's gonna be for
The
football.
market cap is less than my house's value.
Oh yes, this is awesome. I'm
Um,
into it.
yeah, and obviously be safe. But this one, they have a project coming out. It says it'll be like a fantasy football or fantasy sports league,
I'm all
so you
into
can go
that.
on there and do your fantasy football and all the other sports. I'm pretty sure they're going to be doing, but I think they're close to opening their beta site right now. I seen there's been some talks about that lately, so you can go on. They're allowing people to go on there right now and try that. It also has master nodes. They're
You know what?
extremely
I've
cheap.
actually read about this.
Yes,
I
so they're
remember reading
extremely
about this
cheap
a while ago.
master nodes, and they pay out okay. And then if I think if you dox yourself in the future or something, you'll get payouts for the website. But this is a long shot.
I
Don't
think we should go all in and get a
yeah,
master
don't
node. What
do
you think?
that. But
Hey, I got my fantasy football drafts coming up. I could, I'll go all in on the master node, and we'll just see what happens.
nice. Yeah, they're testing their demo server, so maybe you can get over there and ask them to,
Yeah.
take a look at it. That's one thing I like to say just about projects in general is you shouldn't put all these people on a pedestal. Everybody here they're just a person, right? If you got a question about a coin, don't be afraid to go ask them, right? So these guys have their beta version open for testing right now. You can, contact them. Maybe they'll let you sign up. Maybe they won't. I don't know. But there's no harm in trying, right? If you're going to invest in a project, you should really kind of know what it's about. I actually, being a fundamental guy, it irks me sometimes when people have a decent percent in on a project that they hardly even understand. So it's a good chance to go look at the project and see if you're interested. If you don't like the site or this type of thing doesn't interest you, it's obviously not somewhere you should put your money, right? Because if it does go down, it's always nice to hold something that you like, that you can actually, feel good about
Sure.
holding,
Yeah.
opposed to just holding some random trash coin that you wish you would have never got into.
It's funny you say that. When the market was going down, I was holding some bags that I really, really didn't like that turned out to be, I don't know, I don't call them scams, but as we were going down, I kind of slowly started to restructure the bags I was holding as they were going down. So at least, yeah, now my bags are down, but I like the projects that I'm holding.
Yeah,
I think
that's important.
yes, I think it's very important. I think you need to you need to believe in the coin because if it does end up being a long-term hold, and I have a lot of coins that I've held for quite a long time here, so if it does end up being a long-term hold, you definitely want to be comfortable with it because there's nothing worse than being in a coin that has absolutely nothing on the buy side and you have no business holding and wish you would have never been involved in.
Yep, I hear you there. That's awesome, man. So yeah, that kind of wraps it up for us. Do you have anything else you want to talk about, or where can people find you? Anything like that you want to discuss before we wrap up?
Yeah, so my pay group is 5BTC.
Ooh,
No.
it seems reasonable.
Chamber, let's get that now.
Yeah. Yeah, mortgage your house, come meet me.
You
DMs.
mean
No pay group, no nothing like that. You can find me on Twitter, at Needacoin, just having fun on there. Trying to give some good advice every once in a while, but also just trying to enjoy myself overall. I like to enjoy life, so I don't take
Are we gonna
things very
see?
seriously.
Are we gonna see a new Shitcoin Talk episode coming or what?
Oh, I don't know. Those guys, it's tough getting everybody together this time of year. So
Those are some behemoths of the space getting together and chatting. I like those are some of my favorite chats.
yeah, that show's insane. We were just talking about that before. Almost 2 years we've been on doing that crazy shit.
Wow,
That's
so
insane.
That's awesome.
we
a lot of
adopted the
shitcoins.
shitcoin name and ran with it.
That's cool. So check out Shitcoin Talk if you haven't already, because that's pretty awesome. But yeah, man, so we really appreciate it. Thanks for coming on. This was a super awesome, insightful episode. I think everybody's going to love it. And before we go, just a reminder, if you like the show, rate us, review us, give us a 5-star review on iTunes. We need them. We need a coin. We need a review. So there you go. So we need to, we're trying to get up there in this space and want to, get out there and let people find us. So that helps a lot. Leave us a REKT story or a review or a bad review like Raptor Jesus 42, which we read that. Obviously, he's part of the show now. He's family.
Yeah.
So anyway, join our Telegram group, t.me/rekt_podcast. We do a lot of cool stuff in there. Have a lot of fun. And follow us on Twitter at rekt_podcast. I think we're almost at 1,000 followers, Chambers. So
We're very, very close, yeah.
Yep. But anyway, that's it. I just have we'll leave it with the BitMEX REKT of the week. It came yesterday on a liquidated short during this pump for 10 million Bitcoin contracts at like 66.85. So that's a monster REKT. Yes, sir.
That person did not deserve those funds.
No, absolutely not. 10 million contracts. That's a lot. That's a big boy bet too. So anyway, man, Needacoin, thank you very much. Appreciate you coming on. Hope you had a little fun with us today too.
Cheers, man. I hope you guys enjoyed having me, and
it was a blast, man.
I want to look back on a couple of years and see how good you guys got.
We'll be around. We just hopefully we'll be up there as good as you. So
yeah, maybe we can join you guys on Shitcoin Talk one day, and once we're celebrities.
Great, man.
Awesome,
Can't wait
man.
for that.
So, thanks for listening, everybody, and until next time, don't get wrecked, and that is financial advice.